Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Mossad, thank you for your testimony today. Let me ask you just a brief question or two related to the insurance industry. I've heard from a number of people of late who've expressed concerns with how Dodd-Frank has and will affect the insurance industry. You know that insurers are already heavily regulated at the State level, including an industry-funded State guarantee system that helps secure policyholders in the event of an insurance company failure. Most insurers are not engaged in significant, unregulated, interconnected, off-balance sheet, highly leveraged activities, and so designations such as systemically important would appear to be unwarranted in this industry. Overlapping and conflicting rules between State and Federal regulators adds an additional costly layer of regulation that would significantly disadvantage these insurers and their customers. As you know, in the event of another large financial company failure, companies with assets over $50 billion could be on the hook to pay for the resolution of these failed firms, even though they exhibited no bad behavior of their own. Insurance companies who, according to the Dodd-Frank Act, will continue to be resolved in the existing State system are never resolved by the orderly liquidation process and yet have to pay to resolve banks and other bad actors in the financial industry. These costs will inevitably be borne by the consumer. So if insurance companies are already regulated at the State level, and if it's clear that they don't participate in systemically risky behavior, why do they have to bail out other failing financial service companies that do participate in this risky behavior?
Congressman, excuse me, your question raises a number of very, very important issues. Let me try my best. I guess where I would start is that we have come out of a period where, in fact, we did have a very large insurance company that was regulated at the State level, but which posed huge risks to our system because it wasn't regulated beyond that, and that was AIG. And we didn't have the tools to deal with it, and its potential failure could have brought down our entire system. So obviously that has animated the provisions of Dodd-Frank that in part address the insurance industry. But I recognize your point that we have to make sure that these provisions are implemented in a way which is fair to those companies that don't pose those risks and that don't engage in those activities. I think that is a process that we have to focus on as we go forward. The FSOC is very focused on those sorts of issues because we again need to do this in a way that imposes standards and restrictions on those firms that pose the significant risks to the system, while at the same time level the playing field for the others.
And you'd acknowledge, though, that with regard to AIG, it wasn't their insurance business that in effect got them in trouble or brought them down.
Well, it's a complicated question. There were things going on with their insurance business that did pose some risks. But you are correct that AIG was involved in a number of activities that went outside of the traditional insurance area.
And outside of the traditional insurance activities, which really didn't get them in trouble, what activities did get AIG in trouble?
Well, again, I think it's a complicated question. They had obviously a derivatives business that posed a lot of risks, but they were also engaged in some activities with the capital through their insurance business that posed liquidity challenges, and that was one of the reasons why they couldn't. They had liquidity problems, and the Fed had to step in.
But even using AIG as an example, is there a part of you that thinks, again, it's a bit of a stretch to want to lump the insurance industry into Dodd-Frank as well?
Well, again, I think the regulation of large firms that pose a risk to the system is designed to recognize that we can't achieve our goal by doing that by type of entity or by particular business line today. We have to have the ability to look across the entire financial industry and determine where are the risks coming from and take appropriate action. At the same time, as you have pointed out, we have to make sure that those regulations don't impose unfair burdens on other companies that aren't engaged in those activities.
Right. And I would, again, I would second that point and just, reiterate the fact that, in general, the insurance industry did not at all engage in systemically risky behavior. But, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mossad, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, thank you.